character is and a little bit about what he does.
Well, my character's name is Winston. Winston Crumb, actually. And Winston is sort of like a prospector. He's on this island looking for gold, and he hooks up with the person playing the game, a Navy SEAL, and they're assisting each other. He's helping him get through the game, and Navy SEAL will eventually help him get to the point where he can get his gold. And we'll all live happily ever after.
Sounds fun. Have you ever done a video game before?
No, I haven't. This will be my first, and it's exciting.
How's it different?
How's it different from
other projects?
From other projects? Well, for one thing, I'll be doing a lot of stuff to camera, speaking directly to the game player, and that'll
so
be interesting.
everybody knows John
I've never done that
Cassini is
before.
done as a zombie, and we need to clean him up.
Okay, bring him in. Somebody get this guy out of here.
Anthony?
You need me get up out of my seat, man.
No. You can just come take a seat.
How do you feel about your hair?
I'm loving it. It's putting me in the character right now. You know, I was sitting around there with this man and sitting there and thinking, what am I going to do? How am I going to get there? And this thing, put it on my head and I'm right there, man. It's feeling great.
Magic hands there, huh? It's only recently dead. Bridget, tell us who your character is and describe her.
My character. Well, I'm Jules, and I'm a hard-nosed reporter. And basically, if you don't do what I say, this is what happened to you. No, what I am is I'm somebody. I just don't want to give you the whole story. I just would rather give you good sections of it. The idea about this game is that I deal with you.
Talk to me.
I'm sorry. I'm doing this because this is what I'm doing in the thing. What I do is that I'm dealing with two people, which is my partner and the camera, which is the person I'm playing with. So it's really interesting how I become the person who's playing the game. If it is a man, I'm his girlfriend. I'm kind of like nice to him if he's nice to me, you know, and if he does what I tell him to do. If he plays well, I'm like, yeah, right on, great. If he doesn't do well, I'm kind of like, oh, so really? Uh-huh. And you want me to get you coffee? All right. So it's kind of a really great interactive thing where I'm dealing with the person and making them feel very there in the game, right there, as well as playing it and being on the outside. So it's kind of like a 3D feel, you know, that I'm dealing with them as a person and also as my partner, as my person as well, the guide.
Have you ever done a video game before?
No, this is my first one.
And what do you think of it? Is it different?
You know, is it different than
anything you've done before?
It's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know yet to be on location to see what it's going to be like out there, but here it's very interesting to see how they do things in the blue screen and cut and splice everything. It's not so much different. It's different as far as, yes, dealing with two different people, having to talk to, as if you've seen a film where someone talks directly to cameras, to the audience, and also dealing with the scene itself. But instead of separating the two, it's as we do it as one. So it's really interesting. So I wouldn't say it's too much different.
Careful about taking half a step forward because you don't want the shadow to fall on your face.
I don't care.
You're surrounded by zombies.
Totally.
And
Yes.
how's that? What's it like to be surrounded by zombies?
Oh, you know what? It's quite interesting. They got better cheekbones than I do, so I'm not too happy about that. But it's the end and makeup. Wow, the zombies are just very, very zombied, very zombied out. As you can tell, I've had a few interactive experiences with my zombies.
Do you think kids are going to like this game?
Oh, I think it's gonna be fabulous. I think it's gonna be fabulous. My nephew's a whiz. What can I say? He's gonna love that Auntie Bridge is gonna be in the game playing with him. Yeah, I think it's gonna be incredible. For me, I'm having fun doing it, knowing that the person that's playing as well is gonna feel as if he's a part of our group. So it's gonna be really great. Really great. Yeah. That's all I got to say. See you later, bye. Do well or else. This is the last guy I talked to. Well, whose scene are you behind?
Okay, so who are you and what are you doing?
I'm Jules. This is me. You guys follow me in this game. I take you through a little rat race, so to speak. A little fun game here. What else do you want to know? Yes, I'm single.
How do you feel
Age,
about
height.
zombies?
How do I feel about zombies? Before or after the makeup? Woohoo. There's a few cute ones over there. I oughta. So you're behind the scenes, huh? Quite interesting. I don't have much to say. I'm quite quiet right now. I'm waiting for my Tums.
Vincent, tell us who your character is.
Oh, well, his name is Hellman. He used to work with secret government in the CIA, but he got a little too far out, and so he's changing the world into zombies who fight in his own private army.
What do you think your favorite moment is going to be in this script?
My favorite moment in the
Something
script?
jump out at you that you're looking forward to shooting?
No. What are you talking about?
I guess you don't have a favorite moment. Okay, that's it. We're done. Thank you.
All right. What do you want? Hi.
Hi, Vincent.
Hi. How are you?
Fine. Is this the first time you've ever done a video game project?
Yes.
How is it seemingly different thus far?
How is it seemingly different thus far? Well, the script is seemingly different. Usually, you don't have a multiplicity of choice in a script.
No, I'm just stuck. I gotta get around the camera.
Oh yeah. You don't usually have a multiplicity of choice in a script. There's generally sort of a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's like, you know, if you don't get to this level, then this can happen to you. But I'm sure that in terms of shooting it, it'll be exactly the same as shooting anything else.
How is this process so far?
These guys are great.
Dr. Hellman.
Well, this is the last of Dr. Hellman, huh? This isn't always Dr. Hellman. This is Dr. Hellman when he's stripped down at the end of the thing to his essential self, you know. But these gentlemen have been terrific at this. They do very nice work.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
How's his transition coming?
It's come along fine. He's a joy to work with.
Oh, great. We're at the coloring stage.
Oh, what could be so bad? You sit in a high chair and you got 4 hands like primping all over your face. I mean,
It's kind of heaven.
what could be so bad?
What about doing a video game and doing this kind of live action video game? It's kind of cutting edge technology. Do you feel like you're part of a...
No, I do the same thing. I'm not part of the cutting edge technology, certainly.
Let's see what we got.
You know, I'm. Sometimes you get to act, and sometimes you just get to be a sampling. I mean, if I were a musician, that would be, I guess, a way to refer to it. I'm just sort of giving samplings, and then the high-tech, cutting-edge technology is kicking in. You see what I mean?
Do you think this is a game that kids will enjoy playing?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. It seems to have all the elements that kids enjoy playing. You get to blow things up. You get to blow people up. You get to basically do super destruction with the push of a button.
That's all anybody really needs in life.
Yeah. Seamless, bloodless, distanced violence. It's the wave of the future, you know. Goes along with smart bombs and so forth. And what? Surgical strikes.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're just going to let you get made up. We're going to hang out and watch, and then
Okay.
we'll do some more stuff between us.
Great. We have tattoos coming up. If you,
Yeah, I heard.
yeah.
You're going to be all decked out.
Oh, yeah.
Have you had quite a bit of prosthetic makeup done in the past?
No, actually, I haven't. One other time for Buckaroo Banzai.
Uh-huh.
That was a lot more extensive than this. I mean, it was full face.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Oh, yeah,
ghastly.
that was very...
Oh,
I know what you're talking about. John, what kind of stuff have you done in the past, production-wise?
Features. I did Child's Play 2 with Chucky. I co-wrote Child's Play 1, helped create that character, and I just did a couple of months ago Man's Best Friend for New Line Cinema that I wrote and directed. Before that, so those were all. Child's Play was like, you know, obviously a scary movie. I've done some Freddy's Nightmare, some other scary shows. So I've done plenty of monsters and scary stuff. It's comedy too, both.
Is this the first time you've done a video game?
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to try try to incorporate my questions into your answers.
Okay.
First time you've done a video game?
Yeah.
And how does it differ from other productions that you've done?
The pre-production is really different. Like I was telling you, I'll tell you again, the script is actually very different. It seems somewhat incoherent because it's covering all the possibilities of where the story can go, and it's not linear. It's just, it's pieces of reality that need to be put together. And also there's a whole gaming element where what's different is I've been working a lot with the programmers and the developers of the game and all the game designers, and their input is really important. I mean, I couldn't do it without them, so I'm really working in tandem with them, whereas when I'm doing even a television show or a theatrical show, it's really more purely in my hands because the product is just going to be cut together linearly. But because they have the complexity it has, it's more, I got to work with them.
Tell us a little bit about this project. What's it called and describe it?
This one is called Corpse Killer, and it's basically an experiment gone awry has happened, and basically there's a madman, a scientist called Dr. Hellman, and what he has done, the U.S. Army has financed his program called Project Manpower, which is basically raising the dead and turning them into a low-cost army that no one worries about if they die again, you know, in battles. So he's done that, but he's become so obsessed with this idea that he wants to now raise a whole huge army of the dead and conquer the world. So he's on this little island in the middle of nowhere, and you're a Navy SEAL, and you've parachuted onto the island with a couple other Navy SEALs, and your mission is to basically wipe out as many zombies as you can and work your way to Hellman and wipe him out and stop this insane mission. And meanwhile, you're rescuing your buddies who have been captured. And you've got a sidekick who is Winston, who is this like kind of prospector, wisecracking Rastafarian who lives on the island, and you've got kind of a hard-nosed, oh, and there he is, by the way, there's Winston. You've got kind of a hard-nosed reporter who's trying to get a story. So these two characters, you know, are both trying to take you on their particular quest. One of them, Winston, wants to get all this money that's hidden somewhere. That's why he's there fighting these zombies. And Jules wants to help you get this story on Dr. Hellman. And you really just want to shoot zombies and get Hellman and basically assassinate him.
What age category is this being skewed to?
It's definitely being done in a very PG fashion. So it's more like even softer than like Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it's definitely aimed at 9, 10, 11, 12, and all the way up to like, you know, guys my age who are into this and want to enjoy it. So it's really a full range of ages.
And you guys are you're shooting a couple different elements. I understand you're shooting on this set, you're doing miniatures, you're shooting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that whole.
Well, we're doing a week here that involves blue screen, where we have to shoot all the zombie elements. Because the game has all these sets that the camera moves across, and the zombies will electronically be put in there so you can shoot them and they can fall and they can scream and do their little things. So I've got to shoot dozens and dozens and dozens of various zombies in different stages of decay, and that's one of the blue screen things I'm doing. And also there's some, like the set that you can see here, this is Dr. Hellman's lair, where he, that's the zombifier machine right there, where they...
in my mind.
Oh, thank you, Tony. We can see. We're set? Okay, so I should run and shoot this. If you want to talk more, I'll come back afterwards. Okay. You guys are clear when I say
Right, landed.
when I say he's landed. Landed. It's not we're not ready. Somebody over here on this. You guys can't touch string duty. Who wants to do string? String patrol! Steve, you want to do a string? Okay, give us a sign. Just slowly, just rhythmically. Okay, and now and then, really staying taut on the little platform.
Yeah, sure. All right. Let's go. All right.
seconds. Okay, we're starting to land. We're starting to land. We're starting. We're lowering into the trees. And I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, land. 1, 2, 3, land. Egg cutting. David. All right. Okay, cool.
John, what was this shot all about?
We're doing this is your legs, you are the seal, and you've jumped out of the airplane and now you're heading through the sky towards this island. So we're building a miniature of clouds that will part and you'll be going through gauzy clouds. Oh, then there's that's great. Oh, that's great. There's the landing. And basically you eventually make your way to, you hit some treetops, and in the end you wind up where you got stuck at a tree. Your parachute is hung and you're like 6 feet off the ground swinging there. And the second after that that's credits are rolling. The second after that happens, the zombie comes running out of a bush, comes racing across the field and starts chewing on your foot. And then it goes right into an action scene, and then Winston shows up with a machete and he throws it, and the zombie gets stabbed and he falls over and he cuts you down and he goes, "Come on, we got to get the other seals, let's go," and you're in the game. So it's gonna just start with a bang. The ending is great too.
So Tony, you like what you're seeing?
This is great, man. I already could see it even without the miniature.
I'm never happy.
These are good too, the flaps.
Yeah. And that fan is doing something.
Yeah, it's blowing the flaps in with the wire, and the pants are blowing. You know, the handheld is so much better.
Oh, I know.
It's all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it made it work.
Watch the landing.
So do you guys feel like you're playing the game?
Yeah, we've been playing the game for about 22 years. Yeah, sometimes we have been, when we're shooting at the targets with the camera.
We actually do that, which
We
is
actually
fun.
felt like we were into it.
Tony gets into it. Down, go down.
Yeah. Now,
Oh, you know, just basic dowels through the skull head, hooked up to the Makita. Not very high tech, but functional. I don't know, if you go to T2, I don't think that they got much bigger than, Yay by Yay.
Do those pixelate when they get bigger? I don't remember.
They don't do much of it, yeah. T2's an arcade game. It's a little tiny
But
Sega.
what about the home game? What does that do? I'm
I
curious.
think that what they do is they get like intermediate sizes, so it stays, then it pops, and
I mean, I know the
it's
home game is nowhere near, I think, as exciting as the arcade game.
No.
I was really disappointed after playing the arcade game.
Right, when you bring it at home. We're gonna blow T2.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd love to see what it looks like.
Okay, when we set it up, I'll show it to you, just to make sure.
Yeah, but I think it looked great.
Okay, so we should just go back and do the rest of this.
oh, fine. I'll see.
Where were we?
God. What's your favorite part of doing this video thus far? What stands out?
All of it. It's all fun, actually. Learning how to do the game is actually really a lot of fun. Just because I've never done one, so just learning all the things about gameplay and all the theory behind it, and working with all the programmers and those guys, it's really been fun to learn all that. But the actual just doing of it, working with the zombies and all the extras and seeing everybody put out and try to perform, even though they don't know what the hell's going on, is always fun. That's what I like.
Do you kind of feel like you're on the cutting edge of a whole burgeoning medium?
People say that this is, so I don't know. It's not that different from what I've done before. I mean, I've always done effects, and I've always done a lot of makeup and prosthetics, and I've done different motion control things like that. So it's not. To me, ultimately it's the way it's put together that's going to be different. But for the actual production, it's not a foreign thing,
And to your audience, let's say 15-year-old, 13 to 15-year-old kids, what's going to attract them to this game? Why is it different?
Hunting zombies, which is always fun, and also it's all totally real. There's no cartoon characters, there's no animated characters. You are actually looking at real people and real locations and real zombies, and you're interacting with totally real things, and you're shooting at real targets. not at something that's done animated and make believe. And that to me is, I think, something that's pretty exciting. It's like it's much more reality based in that way.
What we were talking about when we left off before was all the different locations that you're shooting on. So I would just like to hear from
Oh yeah,
you
okay, right,
the whole
yeah,
set
okay,
process.
yeah, right. We were talking about, so we have all the blue screen we're doing here, the miniatures, and then, like I said, this set here that we've got, where this is Hellman's lab, this is his gurney, where he turns the nice military men into zombies under that thing. So we've got this that we're doing here, and then we also have a miniature set. We have a whole miniature team that are building miniatures of jungles and big fortresses and things like that, where the actual zombies will be superimposed over that for the actual battle screens, which look like jungle. And then we're going to Puerto Rico for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, to shoot a lot of live action stuff with the actors, where we'll actually have zombies interacting with them. And that's the most movie-like footage, where there's little scenes and they're jumping on them and there's little suspense things going on. And so those are basically the three components that will make up the game. Although it'll appear to be, I think, all one thing when you see it.
Tell us a little bit, just pretend the audience has no concept what miniatures are. Can you just describe?
Miniatures are basically something. Can I give an example from another thing? If you saw the movie Speed, okay, for example, at the ending, they're on a subway, and there's this whole giant thing where the subways, you see it rocketing through these tunnels and ricketing off rails, and at the end it crashes onto Hollywood Boulevard. That's all miniature. So miniature is basically, it looks like a real live size set, but in fact it's actually downscaled to the size of basically a model like you would buy in a store, or like a train set thing, so that you can then blow it up or do things to it or design it in a way that you normally would not be able to.
And what do you end up with when this is finished? How much game time? How much is the actual game going to be?
The actual game, it lasts, it depends on your skill as a player. They're telling me that they think the average player could spend 40 hours, 45 hours playing this game by the time they would finish all the battles and make their way to defeating Hellman. And you might be an ace player and maybe in 6 hours you can get there. You might be a terrible player like me and never get there. And in fact, a lot of people never get past like the first third of these kind of games. That's something you have to keep in mind when you design it. I don't want to deprive people who are never going to make it through the whole game of seeing a lot of good action and things like that. So you have to kind of pace it out so that if you do make it, you feel like you got a reward, but if you don't make it, you don't feel like, God, I got ripped off. I got to see, all I saw was the same clip of this guy getting in a Jeep, 20 times. It's designed to avoid that, so you keep getting some kind of new terrain that you go on to. But I think if you were actually just to take all of the material and just cut it side by side and just watch it linearly where it would not make any sense, I think it only fills about 50 minutes of video, and then it's about an hour's worth of video total, but it's the way it's put together, and you're reusing targets over different backgrounds that makes it play much longer than that.
Are you looking forward to playing it?
Yeah, I am. I actually am. I'm looking forward to showing it to some friends, and I'm looking forward to having my 12-year-old cousin actually play it and show me how it works, because I really don't, unless someone does it for me, I'll never make it to the end. I'm just not good enough at these things.
Talk a little bit about the whole process.
Yeah, not too big.
Just tell me briefly about the process from start to finish of how this game comes to be a game, like from the creative, take it through like all
Well,
the steps.
first, you've got the game designers and the writers who basically have to come up with the concept, what it's going to be, basically like a one-liner, what's this about, a story, and then working with the programmers, that has to be, a map is made out of all the possibilities of the game, how it could branch out, and then someone like me is brought in, and we start to visualize it more, and then artists are brought in to storyboard it and work all that out, and that process goes on for quite a while as you keep refining this thing. And then you eventually get it to a point where you know what you're going to shoot live action, what's not live action, what are the elements. And you, just like a film, you get pre-production and you cast actors and actresses and you build sets and you build miniatures, and then you film all that just like we're doing right now. And then all that will be transferred onto videotape, and it's put into a computer where it's cut together and put together, and then eventually the material is taken and all the programming is done to it, where all the underlying programming that's going to affect all these clips and when they come on and when they go off and all these pieces are put together, which takes quite a bit of time. And then all the sound and then all the color is all blended together, and then it ultimately will be pressed onto a CD disc and a package, and then it's going to be in your store. And that's basically how it happens.
And you go out and buy it.
You go out and buy it or don't, depending on if you like it or not.
Okay, great. John, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
These,
What makes this more unique?
these will be interesting scenes for you to shoot because they're indicative of interactive shooting more than any of the other scenes you've seen for the last couple days. Because what's happening here is you're coming back to the graveyard multiple times to get feedback on battles and other game information that you've gotten. So what you'll see here is the same setup, shot in a number of different ways so that the player can come back and see something different and get a response to what he's done. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering how, you approach it from the interactive side. These guys are feature shooters. How does that communication work? How do you communicate to the film crew that they're doing an interactive shoot and the player's the most important thing?
Well, it's actually been relatively easy with this crew. I mean, John, as our director, just gets it. I mean, he understands how the game works. He understands how the game is played. He understands, and I think most of the crew understands that this isn't necessarily a linear story. It's a story that's made out of small modular pieces that we put together in a variety of orders in real time by the game system. So depending on what the player does, he'll see something different, and he'll see a different sequence of shots and a different sequence of scenes. And so the scenes need to fit together in modular pieces so that they can be put together in any way during the show. In terms of what they do differently, they're not really doing anything differently. They're shooting these scenes just as if they would shoot a movie. But the important thing is that John has choreographed the scenes so that they can all be pieced together in this non-linear way.
Okay. You know,
That's great.
the scene that they're doing right now, is this one, I know they're coming back to the graveyard several times. This one in particular, is there anything unique about this particular one? I'm going to go shoot it after.
This particular scene is battle feedback. You've just come back from one of your variety of battles around the island. Basically in the game you have a home base. The home base is the graveyard, and that's what we're shooting now. And a number of different things happen here, but often you'll come back to the home base and you'll get feedback from the primary characters about how well you did in your last battle. The battle may be at the guardhouse, the battle may be off in the jungle or the village or at the fortress, and then you come back to the graveyard, and when you do, you'll get feedback from Winston and Julie saying, boy, you shot really well, shooting meaning with a gun, or you didn't do so well. That's what we're shooting here.
Great. You were telling me the other day the importance to have the little cinematic moments in between to give the player a break from just the
Yeah, but the key thing about cinematic moments and breaks from game action is that they're short, that they stay short and punchy. And I think we're doing that well. I think John's doing a great job of getting short, punchy scenes so the player's not bogged down with a lot of dramatic action. And it's more like you're shooting, and you're shooting for 2 minutes, and then, whew, I get a break. Oh no, I got to shoot again. Shoot, and then you get a break. And the break is informative, and it tells you something.
I'll just keep rolling.
This battle scene, this graveyard feedback scene is a good example of interactive shooting because we're going to do so many of them. We're going to do cases where you shot well, where you shot your seals in the fortress, your seal partners who've been zombified, or you're shooting zombies. You're doing well, you're doing poorly. You do so poorly that you get bitten by a zombie and then you need the antidote. All of this is happening here, and they'll all fit together in these little modular chunks on the CD that we can call up as appropriate.
Right. Tell me a little bit about yesterday. We'll talk about it as if it was today. When we were shooting, you guys were shooting the Marco. I guess he's the player. has just landed here on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me how you introduce the game. How does the player first arrive to the island?
The player starts by seeing a spinning parachute ride down to the island, which we're actually shooting in miniature, and then we pick up with him landing in a tree. You see the parachute get entangled in the tree, and the player falls on. The player's dangling from the tree, looks around, sees what is, where he is, what his particular predicament is, and this is supposed to imply that you're in this predicament because it's shot POV. All of a sudden, zombie rushes out of the jungle and is coming up, bites you on the leg. So there we've set up the main dilemma in the show, which is you now have the zombie poison in your blood. You need to find the antidote. So you have to go through all these battles and learn about the island and travel through the island to find the antidote to the zombie poison. During the course of this adventure, you learn that there's really a bad guy. The Hellman is holed up in a fortress on the island, and what you really need to do to get the antidote is find him. You have to kill all his minions, which in this case are zombies, get to him, find the antidote, save yourself, and thereby win the game.
And do you have some help?
You have help. You've got the two principal characters, but you're the guy with the gun. You're the guy doing all the action.
So Winston and Julie give you information, or?
Winston and Julie give you information, hints and tips. They tell you how you're doing. Winston's the guy with the vehicle. He'll transport you anywhere you want to go on the island, but it's up to you to decide where you want to go, who you're going to shoot, when. You have to shoot well in order to get to where you're going. You have to shoot well in order to get back to the graveyard to get more information. You have to go out on quests to find bullets and armor and datura, which is antidote to, or not antidote, but you coat bullets with datura to kill zombies more easily. And I lost my train of thought. That's IIS. IIS. I'm really bad at this.
No, you're not bad at all. Yeah. Okay, good.
Sorry. Instead of shooting a linear story here, what we're doing is we're shooting the modules. So you're going to see the same setup. We're going to shoot the same setup a number of times in a variety of ways. So we're going to shoot the good outcomes, the bad outcomes, the okay outcomes. We're going to do it all here on this set. So cohesively, on the set while we're shooting this scene, you won't see that it pieces together linearly. You see lots of different modules, and typically that happens relatively quickly. When we shoot these things, once we're set up, because you're not seeing them in sequence, we can shoot them and just get them on film very quickly. So we hope that's what we're doing here.
The speed of the African sparrow.
It depends which way you're looking.
So, how's it shooting here in Puerto Rico?
Well, it's my second experience in Puerto Rico, and the reason it's a second experience is because the first one went so well, and this is going even better. The crews are just phenomenal. They're hardworking, they're eager, they're very enthusiastic about everything they do, and the camaraderie is marvelous, so the overall morale helps the shoot.
Great. Tell me about the locations. I mean, they have some beautiful spots here.
Well, that's why we're...
Tell us about the fort as well.
Well, the reason we came to Puerto Rico is because after reading the original concept, having been here, I realized that the jungles, the oceans, the forts all lended themselves perfectly to the script that was delivered to us. So we made a survey, and lo and behold, everyone loved everything they saw. It's within a radius of a few miles. We don't have to make major moves to other locations, and it satisfies all of the production needs that the script had.
Let's take one more
Should
step
I look
up.
at the? I'm going to look at your eyeball. Erase all that other shit.
Okay. So one more time, just about the great locations here for Project.
Well, all the locations here lend themselves to what is required in this script. We have forts, we have beaches, we have jungles. Normally you don't have all of these elements in one place like San Francisco or Los Angeles or North Carolina even for that matter. It's all here.
Great. And what have you recreated here behind us?
It's pretty obvious what this is. It's the graveyard where Hellman buries all of his corpses and the zombies come from out of the graves. And this was done by our art director, Tony Tremblay, and he employed local Puerto Rican artisans to make all of these gravestones for us. They look real, but honestly they're styrofoam, which I can lift, and they just do beautiful work here in terms of construction and in terms of set decoration. This is all Puerto Rican labor.
Great. Do you think there'll be more interactive style productions taking place in Puerto
Well,
Rico?
that's not my decision. However, I think the location is always dictated by the requirements of the script. So surely I would like to work again in Puerto Rico, maybe not in July, but Puerto Rico has enough going for it to make it certainly a viable location and cost effective.
Great. Tell me, what are some of the things that make an interactive shoot different than a regular shoot?
Well,
Are there that many differences?
there are the actual physical shooting of the live action is basically, it's the same thing we would do in a feature. It is the way the live action is presented that, of course, is different. We shoot the similar scenes with slight variations depending on what progress the player has made in the game. But after we finish our live action work, then it goes to the magicians in San Francisco who digitalize it and put in all kinds of wonderful things that kids react to, hopefully, with their pocketbooks.
Point up a big, Jesus, that's as low as you can be. I don't want the hot road. I want more of the, there you go. Okay. Come ahead, Jeremiah. Come ahead, Jeremiah. Cut it, but that'll be the shot.
He shouldn't go so far in this time.
David, he went too far in.
Stay back about
David,
10
hold
feet.
on. Give him a spot.
Pull back about
Jeremiah, they're
6
backing
feet.
up.
The Brothers Hand. I need an 8 CTO and a 216.
What's the difference between interactive and regular?
Thank
feature
you so much.
Okay.
And how is it working here in Puerto Rico?
And how does it work? Well, you're going to ask me, right?
Yeah, they won't hear my question on camera.
They
but,
won't?
No, so you can just kind of go on. Tell me about what is the difference shooting interactive versus feature? For you.
Wait, cut it. Wait.
It's all right. It just rolls.
Wait, can you answer this question? The difference between shooting video and film.
Tony?
What?
Excuse me.
They're asking me the difference between
Pardon me, I'll call you right there.
shooting a video game and shooting. There isn't any.
That's beautiful right there.
Oh, I don't look at you.
Yeah, that's it. You look right at it.
Okay. There really isn't any difference other than the fact that we have to consider the transfers when they take this into the game world, and it digitizes very strangely, and they haven't improved. It's very bad right now. Yes. Sir. Excuse me, just for 1 minute. Yes.
Is the silk in the proper position, sir?
Yes, it needs to be higher
thank you.
now.
Thank you. All
Needs
your
to be
DPs.
higher. Sorry, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Get on with it. And there's a big concern of mine is to keep enough light in the front of them as there is in the back of them. And I mean, it needs to be just treated differently than a regular film or television version, just because the way that it's digitized. And I have no knowledge of any of this computerized world, and I don't know what they do, how they do it, or what they use to do it. I just, I'm just a photographer.
Oh, best boy touching the grip equipment. Look out.
These are just regular scenes, but they still go to a CD-ROM thing. I don't know what they do to it, so in order to get it so that it's involved within the game. So all I know is I've seen tests of what they do to it, and they destroy the image. they're getting better. I understand by next year they're supposed to be able to have it so it looks almost the way it is when we shoot it and see it on tape. Once they transfer it from film. We're shooting film.
What about shooting here in Puerto Rico?
Shooting in Puerto Rico has been great. The people are great. The country is, I don't know if it's part of America or not. I haven't been, they've told me it's a part of the state, but they don't pay taxes, so I kind of wish I lived here.
We have all these variations, see variation 1, 2, 3, 4, so whoever's playing the game never knows what's going to come up on the screen next, and either do we.
Tell me about the variations they're doing right now. This is for the game,
This is coming through the gate. We had them starting on the cross, we had it starting on a skeleton, starting on a wall, and we had them clean coming around the corner, so if you could think of any more, we'll put them in. We could start on the video camera, then to the real camera. Shh, we have to be quiet now.
Down, Bridget. Move on. Go on. Let's go this, Peter. Keep it going. It wasn't horrible, though, so put up.
Okay. Hold.
Superior. We'll go with all the elements.
Bart,
Yeah.
what do you enjoy most about your job as makeup, superior makeup, special effects makeup person?
I like it all. Probably designing and building the stuff's the funnest. Although being on set's got its moments too.
How long does it take you to put on a face like this?
These we're averaging about an hour a piece. Generally, we like to have a little more time than that, but because of the since this isn't a video game, it's the target part, so the resolution is real low. We could shortcut it, and normally they look better than this.
What other kinds of projects have you done?
Oh, a show called Necronomicon. Earl and I recently partnered up to do this. Earl goes back to shows like Lost Boys, and we both worked on Fright Night 2, but on different crews. I worked on the first RoboCop. I did Fright Night 2, Stephen King's It. I don't know.
You're really used to doing this
Lots
stuff,
of stuff. Yes.
How long you been doing it? I've been doing about 11 years.
Really? How about you, Bart?
Probably about the same.
We look younger than we are.
You're 12.
Speeding. New Congress.
Actually, I gotta wash this junk off my hands. I don't want to touch the masks. There's stuff on my hand.
Have you ever had a pantyhose over your head, like on Halloween or whatever? Or it's basically the same kind of
Not just
effect.
on the weekend.
That's right.
Halloween.
If you're doing some
So
sort
am I
of
done?
Like maybe after work.
Yeah,
Oh, excuse me.
No, am I
Actually,
done?
one second.
Okay.
I just need to give Earl a hand getting this.
It takes
Sure.
two.
So,
We gotta get this on the.
damn dog tag.
Get the.
So Bart, did you construct this mask?
Yeah, Earl and I, and a few assistants. Who shall remain nameless. Can get over his chin.
How's that feel?
Much better.
We like him this way.
How long does it take to put something like that together?
We've done the whole show in about 2 or 3 weeks. So, I mean, this was sculpted in
things
a
are
couple
like-
of days.
yeah.
They were just banged out pretty quick.
They're like 2 weeks in the making, huh?
So we did everything in basically about 2 weeks.
What were the specifics? What were you told to make? Just the,
There were we did 8 prosthetic makeups like he wore with the various appliances on the face. We did 4 masks like this. We've got a skeleton character.
skeleton,
Yeah,
blue
like
screen.
a guy wears, and we blue screen him in. We have gloves, chests, missing arms, just a lot of miscellaneous.
did they tell you what to make these guys look like? Or just
John gave us a pretty good amount of freedom in terms of, we'd do sketches and show him stuff, and he'd say, yeah, that looks nice. Basically, John's liked everything, so we like John.
That's right. Give us a lot of
And do
freedom.
you guys wear these for Halloween when you're done?
I'm not going to put them on after he wore them. Yeah, we'll keep them around. Some of the faces were sculpted over friends of ours because they hadn't cast any of these people, so we just grabbed somebody's, that we had a head cast of. So I'm sure they'll be coming around for the next 4
Yeah.
Halloweens. Put that on me.
Get a lot of friends from Halloween.
That's right.
So is that how you cast them? You actually cast those masks on people's faces?
With these, yeah, just because they were stock heads that we had laying around, so we didn't have time to take life casts. The Hellman makeup is the only guy that was custom built for that actor. Everything else, we have no idea who's going to be wearing it from one day to the next, so we just did generic heads and cranked them out.
Because they were cheaper.
And we're still cranking them.
Less expensive.
That's right. Yeah, we have people in the shop now turning out more pieces. So, as we have to get ready for Puerto Rico.
Working as we
So
speak.
you guys are going down there also?
One of us probably.
Probably Bart, because
That's
he
right.
loves to sweat.
That's right. Nothing
He loves
makes me
sweaty
happy.
actors with their chins falling off.
That's right. We're gonna.
I think I'll go to the beach.
The
instead.
loser will go to Puerto Rico. We'll
That's
draw
right.
straws.
Flip a coin.
That's right. But anyway, well, back to work.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Can you tell us what your role is on this set?
On this Project Manpower, I'm going to be the stunt coordinator and also doubling the main actor, which is Winston.
And what exactly do you do as a stunt coordinator?
Well, I look to make sure that everything goes right, every gag is set up correctly, and most of all, safety. Make sure that there's always safety on the set. No one gets hurt.
And what are some of the things who are the characters that you're working with, and what are some of the things that you're doing?
Well, all the characters are all different type of zombies, and so far it's been a lot of bullet type hit things and taking hits from punches and falls and so forth. And that's really all that's been going on. But next week we leave for Puerto Rico, and then we start other things like doing like jumping a Jeep and a lot of bullet hits, hitting the ground real hard, and things of that nature.
How do you work with the actors with the zombies to get them to be right on the mark?
Well, I like to explain to them first what they have to do and try to let them picture it in their own head. And then I'll go ahead and do it for them. You know, I'll break out a mat and I'll take the hit and show them how they should do it. And I'll just practice with them over and over until they feel comfortable with what they're doing.
What's the toughest stunt we're going to see in this?
I think the toughest one you see is going to be a car hit, a zombie getting hit by a Jeep, rather. And he's starting off standing in front of the Jeep about 10 feet, and then I'm going to take off. He's going to hit the hood and just go right over the top of it.
Have you ever worked on a video game before?
Oh, yes, a couple.
And is working on video games different than working on other kinds of productions?
Well, to me, it's really no difference. It's a lot of different stunts, you know, and I mean, that's what I love. As long as it has stunts in it, I don't mind what it is.
Perfect. That was
Okay,
great.
thank
you
you.
very much. Okay. Tony, why don't you tell us a little bit about what is your job on this production and what that all means?
Okay, well, I'm the production designer, and basically I've been production designer on feature films such as Army of Darkness, and that's actually sort of how I got into this genre. I was recommended by Brian Usna, who also have done movies like Return of the Living Dead 3, and he referred myself to John LaFia, and he needed something done in this flavor.
What does the production designer do?
Well, it's a very, very large scope of work, including designing the sets, making sure the set dressing is apropos to the characters, the overall look of the film, whether it be locations or costume, just making sure that everything fits together and flows together and becomes one piece of copacetic work.
Where are we standing right now?
This is Hellman's laboratory. This is where he does all of his research on the zombies and turns dead people back into zombies and Navy SEALs into zombies.
And how do you arrive at the set? How do you create this? What's the process?
Well, it sort of varies depending on what it is, and it's something like this, which is very fantasy oriented. Many times I'll just read the script and an image will flash into my mind on what it might look like, and I'll sit down and do a very rough illustration. In fact, this is the original illustration of what this set was to look like, and as you can see, pretty much all of the elements are still pretty much the same as what they are now here on the set.
And what are the different the different things that you're setting in this particular project? You're doing this location, you're doing miniature, you're doing Puerto Rico. Tell us a little bit about all the different variables
Well,
here.
of all the sets that we're building, this is the only one really in Los Angeles with the exception of a cave set. But in Puerto Rico, we're building some of the other battle screens which will be used in the game. Many of those will be generated by shooting models, simply because the models are so complicated and it would be so costly to do if they were full size. So we've decided to build these in miniature and shoot them and then integrate them in with the live action.
What are some of the, can you show us what some of the miniature sets are?
Yes, well these color boards here represent all of the different battle screens and models for the game. This is obviously the very opening of the game where you drop on where you parachute onto the island from the plane, and this will not be used as a battlefield. It's just simply a straight model shot. And then we've got a scene where there will be a derelict Air Force or Army airport. And then there are various jungle and swamp shots which match to the Puerto Rican locations that we'll be shooting in. Some of the sets that we're doing, such as the graveyard, will also be done in miniature just because we have to do so much scrolling on there to create the battlefield. But portions of this will be made full size. And this battle screen represents a set that will be built in Puerto Rico full size, so there'll be no miniature on this particular one. These are the village ruins, also a model. The drive up to the fortress, which will become a series of battle screens before we move inside. And then the interior courtyard. And then actually inside the temple itself. Some ancient ruins. Even more ancient ruins. This is for one of the quickie quests where Winston's looking for his gold doubloons. This is also another location in Puerto Rico, an ambush on a road with an army truck. And towards the finale of the film, we will have Hellman's lair or cave interior, and the entrance to this is reminiscent of a skull. The drawbridge will drop down and reveal this skull. And then the final battle will take place in a cave set, which we have built on the next stage. And we've only built a portion of that, which will then be integrated into a much larger setting, either by miniature or by photocomposite.
Is this any different for you than doing a feature or anything else that you've done in the past, doing a video game?
Not really. The approach is pretty much the same as far as the sets are concerned. They're going to be shot just like real sets. The difference is in designing the models or anything that we're shooting as a battle screen. It has to be set up so that it can be used with the game. In other words, you have to have certain places for the zombies to come out of, and you have to have things to be look very graphic so that the separation is there so the game player can see what he's doing. So in that respect, things have to be a little bit simpler and more graphic, and we're doing that even in the set. Other than that, the approach is pretty much the same.
Howard, tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that you're doing within the set as far as setting things.
This set in particular? Well, basically everything that's here represents something that will be used in the live action. We've got a table here which is used to convert the zombies. We've built this very James Bond looking zombie converter gun, and of course the electric chair where he tortures them.
Who decides what all these accoutrements should be, like on all these different...
Well, the game designer pretty much has decided before any of us have come on what it is that is going to be in these sets. However, as we go through production meetings and story ideas, we formulate completely new concepts, and new elements come in all the time.
Do you, in essence, have to kind of get inside the character's head and decide like what he might want on his desk? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, definitely. I don't know how much of that will actually come through the game when it's all been digitized and edited into game format. But whenever we do a film, we really explore the character's persona and decide what it is that's going to be on his desk or in the lab or something, some other personal interests he may have. And we've got golf clubs in there and drums and various things that he may like other than just converting people into zombies, just so that we give him more facets and more personality.
What are some of the other things that you've decided he might like that you have on the set?
Gummy bears. We have a little candy dish in there. Just things like that. There's a lot of crazy stuff in here. You have to kind of go around and explore. But everybody, all of the set decorators, all put in their opinions, and we go through and decide what it is we're going to keep and not keep.
All right, I think that's all.
All right, go ahead. Actually, you were flipping them off the back before.
We were?
I think so. Or you were flipping them around like that.
You mean like this?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
What is this?
Yeah, that's going to actually be taken off of there, so you might not want to feature that. They say it can't be used.
Can you rotate them?
We should skip that one.
You might actually want to give a reference so that we don't have to go back and check what these are. You could just say like what this
This
is.
is the courtyard, fortress courtyard. Interior of the fortress. Ancient ruins.
How long does it take to build the miniatures?
Totem heads.
Rolling.
Tell you in just a second. Shipwreck. So they've started to build now. They've been building for about a week. They've got about another week before they actually start shooting. So they'll start getting off some multiples of these jungle scenes, and then as the other models are being built, they'll just continue on with the shooting schedule.
Is that a really intricate process to build the models?
It is. It's not as intricate as it is for features or television, because it's not as much detail as required. We're obviously going to try to get them as detailed as possible, but when you project things on a large screen, obviously you have to have a lot more detail and attention to detail. Put somebody in there.
Okay, just clear. Thank you.
There you go. Turn him into a zombie. Kids, don't try this at home. This was the table, I think they used this in Total Recall. I'm not sure.
Really?
That's what I was led to believe.
That's the history of the tape. Where's the drill? Show them the drill.
It's the cranial drill. Got any cavities? Real skeletons, kind of morbid.
They are.
That's how they come.
What do you do to get the skeletons? Like skeleton shop?
Yeah, nearest graveyard.
Here, I stand my camera for the hey, Tony.
What's that?
Here, stand next to one of these skeletons. I'm going to ask you that and say that on camera. So, Tony, where do you get the skeletons?
These skeletons? Nearest graveyard.
Hi, I'm going to go get more makeup. You want to come and talk to me, or you want to talk to me in here?
I'd like to just do a quick bite with you.
Another zombie.
Did you speak to Helen?
I called her and she was not there.
The lead man, maybe.
All right. Okay, I gotta go make a call.
I do one thing to camera. Welcome to Hellman's Lab.
Okay. Welcome to Hellman's Lab.
Very good. Can I do it one more time? She got all kinds of great
Yeah,
stuff, doesn't she?
very well. Yeah. Do you want to from here or over there?
Okay, and stand by.
Welcome to Hellman's Lab.
Sega!
Actually, this light.
Sega!
Do it again.
Sega!
They always do that at the end of every commercial.
Now see, A, this is not here. Well, there's a backlight up there. That's perfectly not on. Go ahead and get that.
Oh, God.
Literally, you put your hand there, 30 seconds later, it's gone. You were moving your hand. It will melt on top of that.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's hot. And it's only a 1 kg enough. Just do something a little bit more creative with the focus and drop like a double in there. That little new shadow in there. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, so who's this? Curtis Brown.
Flashing. Because it's like right about there.
I can put like big 4x4s on the side here.
That's pretty well.
going to be all over sticks and everything we do.
Well, the sticks those sticks don't matter at all, do they?
No, sir.
Doesn't matter what's on. Doesn't matter. Black, brown, green.
Refocus right here, John.
My hand out here, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you. 18 by 24 CCA, please.
Down tilt.
You know when they put that blue hard copy?
Okay, how's that?
So Ken, what's your function on this little deal here?
My function, I have two functions. I'm the code game designer, which means if I thought I'm part of this warp scenario.
You mean when I did the blue top with the guy with his head supposed to be
Yes.
closed, I didn't need to add his blue thing? I could have let it
This
go
has
black?
so few frames that I think we can
That-
pull it.
oh, but
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah. Thank you,
Start.
You read the key right? Yes,
Okay.
Come back up an inch and make it.
Yeah, back up an inch and make it safe.
Ken, you want to concentrate on that?
Okay.
Just for
Okay.
until they start rolling.
Let me know when you're out.
Good. That's better.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
All right, let's
Sound
go.
good?
Yeah.
What is your capacity on the video game side?
Yeah, they call me a programmer, but I'm also a game designer, which means that I had part of the concept, and I'm a technical guy, so I'd say
How's that speed, by the way?
a little faster.
Faster?
That's cool.
Give me hyper fast now.
That's great.
Very cool. Very cool.
Flip that skeleton.
Do it again. Keep going. Are you rolling, Tony?
Yes.
Super speed. Smoke it.
Oh.
Okay, and cut it.
How about slow?
It still lives.
Yeah.
Still lives, yeah.
Do another little
So
slow.
aside from game design, I actually program the game. So it means that they'll produce all this footage, and I have to not only assemble the pieces, but make it into a fun game.
Okay,
So
a little faster.
there are all these little pieces, like the blue screen zombies will go onto the miniatures.
A little faster.
And then we're gonna
That's
put that
good.
together with live action footage. The skull that you see here is gonna be coming out of a zombie's hand, and I have to map that in on the fly. And then I gotta bring it to the fun level, make it feel like something that the kid wants to play, make it work fast, make it easy to play, all those little things. So
Why is a kid going to want to buy it or have his parents buy it when it's out there on the
it's gonna be
shelf?
so fun to kill zombies. Zombies are dead. They're politically correct. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. A traditional video game involves some killing of video things that don't really exist, and
Okay,
these
faster.
are really going to be an exaggeration of that. This is sort of
There you
over
go,
the
that's
top.
good
They're
speed.
camp, and they look real, but not really real. So you get to
Smoke
the
it.
point of just a lot of fun. The first time I heard the concept from Ken Melville, the other designer,
There you go.
it
Cut
just screamed, "This is a great video game!" And so this is a very traditional video game in some senses. It's just out there shooting stuff.
How, is this basically like a whole new genre in the medium that you guys have?
Take two.
What we've done is we've taken a traditional genre, which is a light gun game or a shooter, is what they call it. I mean, that's the term.
Hang on one second. You need light.
You need light.
Can we?
Do it slower, just if you can. Okay, now faster.
Where do you do all your stuff, really?
That's a good speed.
It all
Faster.
goes through a very traditional process here.
Not go bonkers.
And then I take it and put it all on a tape. My computer
Hey,
and
cut
finally
it.
assemble it into the Sega.
Perfect.
It's a
Cut.
huge number of
Okay,
steps
let's go
long.
to the next problem.
And part of it we use all of. I'm sorry, I forget where.
It's okay. Chris, just if you
Oh,
don't
Chris.
mind, once this is finished and you get your hands on it, what's the process?
Okay, I get my hands on it in several stages. First, I get all the blue screen zombies. So we're going to spend weeks just cutting out zombies and piecing them together into animations so they lumber right. And I'm going to get miniature battlefields. Battlefields will scroll along, and I'll put the zombies on it. So I'll get time to make that work. Then when they get back from Puerto Rico, I'm going to get all the footage that goes and leads into it and comes out of the battle screen. So I'll have the characters, come on, let's go, and, all the pump-up stuff. And I'll use little placeholder cards before I get the video. Come up and it'll say scene 25, and then it'll babble here. So that's the way I get it. And there's a process before I get it that takes it from film to videotape into a computer, and then we bring its colors from millions of colors down to 16 or 30 colors, and then I get it on the Sega.
And then you get it finished, and how long does it take you to actually do all the final stuff to get it to wherever it has to go?
It takes me about 8 weeks to get it final, which means that from the point I actually get final footage and everything, it's going to be 8 weeks. Now, some of that time is spent in testing and just guys playing it for hundreds of hours. Back at Atari, it used to be a game would have to be on and played for 72 hours straight without a crash for it to be released. We're a little bit less strenuous on that. But yeah, we have banks of like 20 guys, and they just play it.
When's it going to be done, and where does it go, and for what specific date does it arrive?
It's got to be there for Christmas. Christmas is everything. If we don't make the product by Christmas, we have nothing. And really, we want to make Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving, the day after Thanksgiving, is the biggest sales day of the year. So we got to hit game magazines before that. We have to hit publicity and ads, print ads, ads on the television. So I'll probably release October.
FW3.
October's not all that far away.
Hurry up, guys. You were talking about the selection process before and how you pick the games and what.
Okay, there are different genres of traditional video games, and this comes out of one of those genres. And what we do is we meld video, interactive video, with a traditional game. So this is a shooter, which means that you have targets, and sort of like ducks in a shooting gallery. Except for us, there's zombies, and we wrap an intriguing story around it. It's a great horror movie. And ours is a little camp, a little over the top. Other games, we have a basketball game in production. That's a very traditional video game. And then we have our very original concepts, which you can only do in video. And I wouldn't describe this game as quite that. But this is a nice game that melds the old world of video games and the new world of interactive video games. And it really brings things in. There's that ground, that middle ground between, gosh, this is just an old game, and wow, this is cool.
What's the next step?
The next step is next year's machines will have video quality, really high video quality. We can get into realism. Here we have to believe it, get into the illusion. But once we can show you something that's as good as a VHS tape, and we have a lot of possibilities. Now here we're limited by technology this year. We can't show you a lot of possibilities, a lot of branching, a lot of, the tree of a game that grows. Next year it's going to be great. It's going to be interactive movies are going to, wow, did you see the third ending to, when you killed the guy in the library and when you rescued the girl by the pit? So that's the next step. The next step is getting further into the game. We've just started to scrape the surface of interactive video games.
So this is a very evolutionary process.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially last year's games were in some ways very passive compared to this year's games. Last year's games, you watch something, you control what you watched. You said, okay, show me the living room, now show me the dining room, show me the kitchen. This year, you're in a basketball game, okay, now I want to fade left, that kind of thing. Next year, it'll be, I want to slow down my dribble a little bit, now I'll give him a head fake. So all these different tiny little steps.
Are the kids demanding this?
Kids keep pushing you. Kids are, last year, video's pretty cool. Video's cool. And then this year it's, I want more control. I want to be able to move my fielder over. Because if you're just shooting video, you're shooting the fielder, he doesn't move. It's just what you shoot. So then the year after, it's going to be, I want to play Barry Bonds in left field,
And you guys are going to give it to him.
We're going to give it to him.
Great. Perfect. Good stuff. That's a wrap. Nice job.
So are we putting it on or taking it off today?
This I'm taking off. We're gonna do.
We're gonna start again.
Yeah.
Do you have any makeup on?
Yeah. Let me go see if they've got Minnow Sweets.
Games are.
How far away are you?
having it.
We could be half an hour. Or we
Half
could,
hour just for you guys.
What do you say, Bart?
I'm not
Does that sound
pressuring you,
good?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, hopefully a little quicker, but yeah,
Okay.
just to make sure.
Okay, at least, I mean, maximum. Yeah, this is pretty quick.
You got a half hour to go, huh?
Well, maybe not.
You're gonna be gorgeous.
Yeah, that's just to give us a little,
little room.
little extra time. These pieces don't take a lot of color.
Did you do the rest of my face, or do I go next door for that? Or is there anything else to be done?
At this stage,
This time we'll
this is
do
pretty
the
much
whole
it.
thing. We're gonna just put a little bit of a light highlight.
Right. So you'll do it all.
And, yeah. And then for the other stage, I guess she'll.
You mean for the without the prosthetics?
Yeah.
you mean? All right.
She'll do it. I assume she's gonna do a standard straight makeup thing.
Yeah, I assume so.
A little base and this and that. Whatever particulars you like.
Yeah, I mean, I generally leave it up to them.
Okay, I have a good idea what she's gonna do.
Too involved. Is this beginning to look really like me?
It's starting to.
Amazing.
Yeah, we just have to.
I love the way it moves.
Just blending in the edge a little. It looks like it will
Good.
be. Certainly does. Darken that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do on his eye there? That looks pretty good.
Pretty much the same thing. Just a little of the deep color there. Very scary. Well, I gotta go see if Anthony's got that light color.
Anthony?
Anthony. That's right. That's what we always call him. Anthony.
Anthony.
Even though he doesn't like it, I still.
He's cool.
Yeah. But I didn't know his name was Anthony.
Yeah.
Technically, it's Anthony, but
I understand. I understand.
that's a little not. That's not as
Let me go
disrespectful.
get that other. I'm thinking that light base that he took will be the thing. We'll just do a light pat over this once it's just done.
Yeah.
All right. Once it's set.
Okay.
That's looking pretty cute.
Yeah? Yeah, you got that?
Where is it? There you go.
Ah!
We're not 100% done, but it's getting there.
Hmm. That's looking good. What are you gonna do to my lips? You gonna do anything to my lips?
Let's see. We can certainly maybe just
Line them or something? You
well,
know?
or maybe just lighten them. We can do some, yeah, make them look a little chapped or.
Yeah.
Not with the
Bloodless?
Yeah, less healthy looking. We'll pale
Yeah.
them out a little. and-
Yeah?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Don't you think?
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, just so that it's. Sometimes we've had people that are just, real
Scared of moving the
Yeah.
piece.
Well, I want to tear it off my face, so I won't act at all. It's like, thanks a lot.
They're beautiful. God.
It's gonna be really cool.
You got a little to do under this one? Or does it
Yeah,
look alright?
yeah. Plus we've got some little brow pieces.
God, they're good.
Earl's got the good color.
Those are gonna be good.
The Cooler Man. What did you think about that? Art put a real light mist of this light yellow base. It's not yellow. It's what is it called? You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Over for after lunch.
Oh, I'll just have it with lunch.
Yeah. So you yeah.
Aesthetic.
Right. Yeah. It covers it.
Covers it up. It's like molding.
There you go. That's the idea.
A little extra something.
Like molding.
Make it more real.
Extra.
Do you have your matte adhesive art?
Yeah, it's in.
Mine's taking forever to check up. Oh, yours looks just about as good. Stuff takes forever to mix. I got this Started shaking it yesterday.
Why is that?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
get me
stuff.
some of this. Mine, see what brand I've got. I got the same stuff. Bastards. It's giving me a cheap, cheap lot.
Mine's only a year old and yours is 2.
That's probably.
Maroon.
Why are you here and why is he so special? That's what we want to know.
This is zombie time.
Little
Like vampire bites.
broken capillary action.
Oh, thanks.
I've been hitting the bottle a little bit too much lately.
Watch your
I don't
back.
know how those zombies get. Broken blood vessels.
Now, one thing about the undead, they work long hours without complaint.
That's true. That's true.
No union.
That's right.
Well,
It's
there is
coming.
one.
It's coming, yeah, that's right.
Zombie soup.
Boom's in the shot.
Great armpit shot. Love it.
Loving it.
I'm gonna be able to get some like red lines between my teeth. Yeah.
Are you gonna do some teeth work on him, dear?
Huh?
Up to. No, I know him. He's in Tuesday night's class. Harry Master George.
Why, you're absolutely right.
How are
Wow, good. Oh, are you Julie? Are you playing Julie? Great, cool.
you? Well, why do I
And your
know
name is Bridget.
Let's start
Right.
with Vincent's tattoos.
Okay,
Great.
so we are going to show them. They are going to be seen.
It's amazing.
I don't know. I thought.
John came in this morning and said he would get back with us late. Had some.
Well, would you mind coming out and talking to
No,
Effie?
but all right. Hi.
We're supposed to hear that.
You got caught.
I got caught.
Timothy. Hey, how you doing, man?
This one's out here smiling like you're talking to somebody. I'm trying to figure out who's looking at you. Look at nobody.
That's funny.
That's narcissism.
It's a small world, you know.
It is. I've met 2 people I haven't seen in years and years on this set. I'm like, oh wow. It is a small world after all.
Meeting on a nondescript Caribbean island. Me dead, she very much alive.
The stuff, that romantic story.
Yeah, romantic sparks.
Problems in Orange County and Bray on southbound 57 at Lambert Roads. The on and off ramps are closed as CHP works on a crash, or works on clearing a crash in the area. Traffic is backed up to Brea Canyon Road. And in Corona on the westbound 91 approaching Green River Drive. There's a new
Getting in the making, huh?
second and third lanes
right.
from the left. Traffic is backed up for about a mile. This update's made possible by Star System. Union Bank customers
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out which pieces we want to use on our last seal.
Start off this hour of music with trumpeter Sam Noto and his quartet from 1975. Barry Harris, the pianist, the Roy Vinegar bass, and Lenny McBrown, drums. From the Xanadu LP, Entrance. This is Sam Noto and the Fats Navarro composition called
Not too exciting at this particular moment.
So that's it. You just take apart. You have different face casts, and you take apart all the different pieces.
Yeah, we sculpted these several pieces on one face just so we could run them faster and produce them quicker.
You just have to make sure you don't use the same.
Yeah, we're just trying to vary it so that they all of them don't end up looking the same.
That'd be kind of hard to do.
One generic face.
Let me turn that around, Peter, so you can see.
Yeah,
Here's one on the
several
floor.
different
too.
ways.
Here.
This is gonna be locked off though, right? This camera thing?
When Vincent's in here, we'll lock it.
Go and lean back.
Well,
Or do you want it, or is it in your way now?
It's already getting in my way. We still have
Okay.
another guy to do.
Okay.
But you know, it's like this huge thing
Protruding out of your
I'm afraid it's gonna whack me.
Oh! it comes off.
Yeah.
Oh, we will want to know.
He'll be taking yours off. If you put it on extra tough, he's gonna have to get it off. Yeah, some of the adhesives are stronger.
I say I have a non-stick face. Yeah, you have to work a little bit harder. Like Teflon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Still.
Gonna use your forehead, Earl. Your medium guy.
Cool.
It's got a neat nose on it.
Yeah, it does have a strong nose on that piece. So it's that light pink. And go for a little of the old piebald look.
Favorite look of his?
Yeah. Some black people get light pink.
Hook me up.
Swatches here and there. Oh, blue. I'll break up that rubber.
But I mean, they'll look different enough.
Otherwise, we could use a couple of those generic wound type things, just flip them around, make cheekbones out of them.
Yeah, you want to do that on one side and not even put any on the other, just to get him through.
Okay.
It's like the bridge of the nose you put on this one, so I wanted to use it again.
Yeah, no, I like strong noses. I like good nose.
Noses and ears are your only vices.
That's it. Noses and big ears. Oh, you can't do that. Why not? Well, I don't know. It scares me. Okay. Here's a little rubber piece. I will put it on the unsuspecting actor. Notice how I don't get the glue on myself, because I want to have children.
Well, that's right. They did tell me I was going to be sterile after
You
this.
washed his face.
Yeah, it sea breezed him.
Very nice.
You gotta tone it down.
That's interesting.
There you go. Hey, it looks like a cheekbone. How'd that
Yeah,
happen?
something like that.
Good shirt.
I hate to go over that wonderful edge. What I just did.
Whatever you gotta do.
Black guy?
I haven't seen him.
He's getting his wardrobe on, and he's coming to you.
You can take his body stuff up onto his cheeks a bit or whatever, because he's...
Okay, can I use it? I can use that almond cream or that... Oh, very nice job, Earl. Thanks for saving me.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can even subtle him out a bit with the body makeup.
Okay. Okay.
He's still a little splotchy.
Bart, on the guy that you did?
Bill, yeah.
Yeah, do you want me to put some busted capping up on his face?
You might do a little like in the neck or something, just to tie it together a little more.
Will do, man.
Mainly, don't let that keep you. If they're like, oh, we need him, then just...
Okay.
Excuse me. Over here, Earl.
Too late.
He's got glue and adhesive.
You know, I thinned mine out in the jaw.
I hear you.
50-50. Jesus, I got some of that on me.
Keep your eyes
Christ.
closed.
Used to this motion, raging or black actor, so I turned it off. That's how it's doing.
I didn't notice.
It was exciting and couldn't do as much. Yeah, that's very good. Coming off very well. So he's pretty. His face anyway is pretty light already. I think I'll match the piece to his tone, and we can just go over it with the light wash, you know.
Pretty much what I did on Bill, I just kind of based out his whole face in that, and then just, you know, I guess this was maybe a little closer to Bill's color.
Yeah, just.
Guess it's not too wacky.
It's so hot. It's been so hot on stage. I figured they would sweat an entire bass right off.
Where's the sponge you was using?
Especially that other guy looked like a real sweater.
Oops, excuse me.
I could tell. He was just waiting to get out of here so he could start sweating. Are you done yet?
That's right. I want to go faster, please.
Racing against the clock.
Hi, Mom. You gotta see my parents.
Look at that beautiful pink.
Yeah. You can give better. You want to hold them like. That's okay. Very good. There you go.
Little breakout.
This will teach me to avoid Dr. Hellman at all costs in future efforts.
That's right.
Anybody named Hellman, get to stepping. He's a bad dude.
Well, we were calling, of course, Hell Man.
Yeah, that's more what I thought when I read it.
Correct this.
Hell Man. He sends you to hell.
Okay.
She likes.
I'll get another picture of Bill later. You can get even closer than that with the camera.
Okay.
As you'll see.
Doing his arm.
Great.
you
Okay.
get that closer
John
if
was
you
just
want.
asking. So that's the two, and then.
Yeah, go.
Let's see. Focus it. Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
That should be good.
Yeah.
All right, you can go get your.
Arms
go
up.
to
I gotta
straight
go back
makeup.
over?
Oh yeah. Actually, you better go and get your costume on first.
Okay.
Is that's
No,
your shirt?
no, I need to. Yeah, this is my shirt. Yeah, I just need to put the pants.
Yeah, get all that done.
Okay.
Your boots, whatever.
And what do I come back here or do I go?
Go back where Anthony put your
Okay.
put your face on.
Okay.
And then he'll do your.
He'll do the arms. Okay, great. Thank you.
Much lighter than it's so you can get it off quicker.